Greetings and blessings to you all. I am Lex. I go by Lex Stays Liquid. And welcome back to my channel. What a beautiful time to be alive. Once again, thank you so much for those of you who have managed to tune into what we are doing by way of mental health, healing, more awareness, our campaigns, our toxic masculinity, our campaigns, the podcast, all of the healing around that, the modalities, because this is the time now. The men are waking up, the boys are looking for guidance, and so we are that there right here. And as you know, we are always I'm always doing case studies. I'm always doing research which will assist not just in physically bringing out the mentorships, the learnerships, the modalities by which we may heal our traumas, heal our mental health, not just black men, but all men, all boys. But right here, this case study is Black Men in Therapy by a beautiful channel that I came across, which I'm using as a case study for a men's roundtable. So this is from America. Shout out to Black Love. This is Black Love, as you can see over here. It's a beautiful channel. I suggest you subscribe to it. Once again, I do not own this content. This is just for educational purposes. Once again, shout out Black Love. And so we're gonna kick off with this one over here, Black Men in Therapy. So I'm gonna make it run and stop periodically so that we can just touch on a few points in terms of our focuses and how we can sort of already, without having any sort of therapy, start to have self-awareness. Whether we have a problem, whether we're ready to accept it or not. And if we are, there's ways and there's ways. There's multiple ways to get to your destination. And so this is what I want to also illuminate you gents out there who are listening, who are trying to take their mental health seriously. Okay, it's not just about the physical health. We've spoken about this. It's not just about your spiritual health. It's about being a whole being and therefore a leader of your own kingdom, your own system within. Okay, once you are a full functioning running system, you become autonomous, ultra instinct. For those of you DBZ fans out there, Dragon Ball Z, that's a young reference. But yes, without further ado, let's get into this case study over here, Black Men in Therapy. Make it run.
And so to have an individual with an objective perspective guide you that way, it just like, it releases. It's like taking a deep, sigh. My wife and I did premarital counseling.
And that was in a church as well, or outside?
Through the church, and also outside.
Oh, you had two different...
Yeah.
Okay.
And I believe in continuing therapy just because, when it comes to communication in marriage, it's a multi-layered thing. It's not just you expressing what's on your mind and your wife is going to receive it. No, it's multi-layered. So the value to me, when I would go, is to have a person that can be objective and hear what I'm saying without any emotions attached to it and just articulate it so that my wife could receive it. Because sometimes ego would change my delivery. You should be understanding what I'm saying. And now I'm having a condescending tone and my wife is completely shut down.
Right. Yeah.
So if anything, just to open up the lines of communication, that was the value that, the mediator, I would say, was able to provide.
Does it work?
That's a very, very beautiful point. The fact that a mediator, so someone who's neutral, someone who does not know you directly, or either of you directly, this is also a relationship with yourself, gents, okay? It's not just about relationships outside, but first, what we cultivate, the best thing to do to become a true leader of yourself and to not be confused and taken by all of these other darker roots, to try and then find yourself again, is to accept, all right? Accept, and then from there you're able to then witness what's around you, and then from there you can make conscious decisions into actually speaking to someone, okay? Even for yourself. Speaking to someone doesn't mean you have to speak to just anyone. Use your discernment. So it's very important points right there. Make it run.
I mean, if I heard him right, he's continuing. Yeah, just go.
I think it's not you go once and then your life is.
That's the conscious consistency that we do here at Lex Stays Liquid. So it's not, the mentorships are not just about a once-off. It's more about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, so on and so forth.
So it's a continuing thing. Like marriage, just like anything else, like acting or whatever. You're pursuing. Yeah, you're always in classes. You're always taking new headshots because you're always changing and developing, and you always have to adapt.
Always evolving.
I'm not the same man I was when we got married 3.5 years ago. We got a 1.5-year-old now. She's due in 2 weeks with another one. So she's a completely different person, like spiritually, physically, and so I have to adapt to now dealing with hormones. Yeah, she's pregnant. So now when I say something and she responds, and now we're arguing over an ankle sock, I'm like, whoa, what happened? But I'm not arguing with her. It's the hormones that's now impacting how we communicate. So I got to go back and be like, hey, have somebody else help us hash this out. Help my wife understand, like, no, your husband's not attacking you. He just doesn't adapt as quickly as your hormones are changing. So, but if it is,
that's powerful. When it comes to hormones, hormonal imbalances create distortions within the vessel itself, within the body. Okay, and hormones are linked to glands, which are linked to organs, which are linked to chakras, energy points, energy centers. You see, and if your organs are not in harmony, they are not playing together. They're not balanced. So yes, that's another important point. Hormones, make it run.
The hormones, right? No, that's something psychological, or that's something that's innate. So even if you have therapy, right, and the hormones is attacking her, what can therapy do?
My description of therapy is this: it's a way to actually properly communicate without talking directly to your partner with the heightened sense of anger, with the misinterpretation of what voice you're trying to share.
Gotcha.
It's someone that's objective. They don't know you. It's like this right here. This is not considered a therapy session, but this is what therapy is. This is all of us talking about our experiences. Everyone's giving a little bit of insight. It's helping us. It's allowing us to take stress off of our shoulders.
So right there, beautiful point is what we do also at Lex Stays Liquid is common sharing. So in our retreats, in some of the sessions that we do, and also by way of Gugulethu Community Services, our NPC partner, the non-profit organization or non-profit company, we then fund these campaigns whereby we able to give these free workshops, okay, in the community community centers. We're trying to move all over the country, however, one step at a time. All right. We're also gonna create these online. We're gonna move them throughout Africa eventually. And so, once again, it's not just you who's going through or has been through something, and that's where us as men can reach a nice point of a meeting. I mean, it's so amazing when you hear that another gent next to you has been through something similar. Automatically, part of a team, you bond over certain things much quicker. So yeah, it's super important. Make it run.
When I was in my relationship, we had hit like a real rocky patch, and going to therapy every week, when we would talk about our problems and issues, it would just add another layer to that, because now I feel like I'm being attacked. So then I'm in defense mode. So now I'm attacking her. Yep. So now we're just having this bubble's just getting bigger and bigger. But now we talk to someone with an objective perspective that doesn't have any bias. It's not her friends. It's not my friends. Yep. This is an individual who's literally just talking to what they see that's in front of them, what you're delivering. Meaning you have to deliver the honest truth. To your friends, you may not do that all the time. But to a complete stranger, if you go into it with an open mind, that person cannot harm you. He has nothing on you, or she has nothing on you. This is a free place to speak openly and free. And once that hour and a half is over, you wipe your hands and you can go to another therapist. You never have to see this person again. But if I had that hour and a half with you, I'm going to see you Saturday at the table. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
it allows that freedom and it allows that outlet to properly communicate with your partner from a different perspective, from an outside perspective that really cannot harm or deviate to lean toward one side versus the other.
I'm gonna tell you what would piss you off about therapy, though.
Right.
There'll be something that you've communicated to your wife 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And then it finally
And then it comes from this person that she's like, oh, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, so what we're gonna do is
Sometimes it's not the
what we're gonna do is we're gonna fast forward it a little bit because this is more relationship orientated towards wives and husbands, you know. So it still parallels with the relationships with ourselves, gents. Okay, so without having a relationship with ourselves, every other relationship you have outside of you will be the same distortion or one that's even more distorted. Let's see where we at here, make it run.
You know when that black put their hands on you, listen, baby. You know you're getting it from a place where
Let's
it's coming
fast forward
from
a little bit more.
experience.
yeah.
Right. Years ago comes up. Yeah. Hey. So it's still in there. You don't forget it. It's just in the recesses of your mind. So for me, going to therapy is more of a personal thing and it's not. I have never been to therapy, but it's therapeutic for me to go to someone who was, my elder. If I'm going to learn some life-changing stuff from someone, I would love to have that information come from someone who has more life experience than I do.
Wow. So, man, I think it's probably, but I haven't done therapy. I'm interested in therapy, but I think it's a little bit above definitely having those folks in your community that have been successful in something that you've done. I've had a business coach before, and that was therapy. I'm not sure if any of you guys had business coach, acting coaches, or what have you. Like, that's therapy, and when someone is, I'm a big proponent of paying someone with a skill and a talent and an expertise. Like, photographer, videographer, what have you, I like to make sure that the right people who have that superpower get paid, and I want to receive that, secret sauce that they have.
Right.
So I am very interested in potentially having just like some type of therapy and just getting things off my chest and just figuring out does that feel good? And I think a lot of folks who, especially in like corporate America, your insurance can cover therapy. Or when you're an entrepreneur, you're making good money, you can afford. You can be just like, this is part of my health insurance. You can get the health insurance that have those type of things. And so I think us as people of color, it's something to think about. And like a question I had for you, I guess all three of you guys who have had therapy, what is a session like for people? Like, can you walk us through a session and what it feels like? Because I think it will help us understand.
It may change my mind.
Yeah, well, it'll help us doubt it.
I'll tell you this. Like coming from Oakland, therapy was not a thing that I heard of. Therapy was not a thing that was accepted. And in the black community, like it's if you do therapy, most of the time people won't even tell you. It's like something that they feel is like it's a burden or it's a negative attribute to you as a person. But to be honest, to go to therapy and to have someone else give you an opinion or just have someone else listen to you and provide their life experiences or try to lead you down different paths or just provide you with tools to alleviate some of the bottled up stress that you have within you, that takes a strong person to do that because you're becoming vulnerable to a complete stranger, whether it's paid or whether it's not. Being able to be vulnerable in a room one-on-one with someone for an hour and a half, right? And you actually have like the steps. You literally walk into an office, and my therapist would literally sit down in front of me like this, and he would just stare at me. And if I didn't say anything, 1 or 2 minutes, because I'm still thinking like I'm hesitant, like, damn, I don't know what I want to tell him. I don't know about this. He'll look at me and be like, how's the relationship going? And then it's like, oh man, so like
I've been waiting for you to ask.
Because sometimes a problem that we have with communications, we don't know how to start it.
Voluntarily start that conversation.
And so to have an individual with an objective perspective guide you that way, then it just like it releases. It's like taking a deep sigh. And then you just get into a conversation. Then your therapist can pick out points where he sees like something is a little bit more heightened than something else. And then he could guide you down this path of things you need to just get off your chest. know, and with therapy, I mean, it allowed, you know, I was out, like when you bottle up your stress, it starts with your shoulders. Then it works down your back, then it goes down your lower back. When I started doing therapy, I started alleviating a lot of those things. I thought, you know, I'd go to the chiropractor, start running more. It wasn't helping. Then when I started going to therapy, and just like getting these bottled up emotions, these unanswered questions out, or just being able to communicate with someone aside from my friends, a lot of those things start to disappear. You know?
Yeah. And I think
That's very powerful, absolutely powerful. Emotional trauma leads to physical trauma, you know, and vice versa. So, you know, you can't have one without the other. And therefore, being aware of it invites your spiritual health. And then there's practices, conscious practices, which mean that you're therefore a spiritual being. And so it's so important, gents, that we start to look at all of this holistically and not just individually, as in on the body or on the vessel, physical health, not just the mental health, not just the spiritual health, but we have to look at ourselves holistically. And then in that there, we're able to then heal ourselves completely. All right? We're then able to be the masters of our own selves. We're able to be the kings of our own kingdoms, and therefore be the leaders of the children of tomorrow. I'm Lex Stays Liquid. This has been another beautiful video. Thank you for watching. Remain blessed.